Pathetic. That's right. Pathetic. All right, just as long as you know. All right. In this, I wouldn't call this a series. I'm kind of just journaling my thoughts and my experiences and how God is revealing some things to me in terms of prayer and my observations in life. I'm trying to understand the relationship between the church and prophecy today. I've been tormented for a while, especially about the dreams that I shared, just because, well, I'm not tormented in terms of the truth of the dreams. I absolutely had the dreams. I'm tormented in that I just didn't want to, when I'm reading the scriptures, my motives were very much in line revealing the dreams. Again, whether that's prophecy or not, whether I'm being a prophet in that case or not, I don't know. I have no interest in touting myself that way. I just wanted to do exactly what Corinthians says to do. That's the role of prophecy, is to build others up and encourage them and so forth. Of course, if what you're saying isn't true, then it doesn't do any good. So I'm sure this will take multiple videos, and I may end up correcting myself a few times as I go through it. I'm going to deal with some influential leaders in the church and just talk about some of the things they're saying, and obviously go through Bible passages that I think speak to these issues. So one of the first ones that has actually a really good YouTube channel, I forget his name, he's a British guy, is called Lion of Fire Ministries. And his perspective on modern prophecy is very similar to the one that I had not too long ago. And that was, if you asked me, is modern prophecy for today, I would have said, sure. But I would have thought, we'll never need it because we have the New Testament. We've got the Bible, don't need it. But yeah, if you're in some church in the middle of the jungle somewhere out there, yeah, sure. And as I've been going through some Bible passages and going through just life in general and having my own experiences with these things, and also testimonies from Christians, I'm coming to find that I just think that's very, I don't want to say he's being duplicitous, because he's certainly not. I think he believes what he's saying because I believed it. But I think that it's a little bit of doublespeak. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, essentially what he said in some of his videos is, was just like, yeah, sure, prophecies for today, sure, but, and it was like, generally everything can come from the Bible. No, that's not a bad perspective, and you can't go wrong, I think, if you're saying, hey, I just believe what the Bible says. Although I think you should be listening, at least in the Bible would tell you to do this, to at least take in the prophecy, then test it. And it felt like a little bit of doublespeak. It's like, yeah, sure, it's for today, but but that's it. No Bible passages about why you would accept prophecy today. No Bible. I mean, it was a short video in his defense. Okay. In fact, the entire point of the video was to trust the Bible. There's nothing wrong with that, for sure. But, and also it was couched in a time where there's a lot of people making prophetic claims that are just false. Another time he brought up Jeremiah 13. Now, Jeremiah 13 is utterly fascinating. Now, the first thing you need to understand about Jeremiah 13 is the theocracy of Israel as a nation was being judged. Now, God judges nations whether they're theocracies or not, but that happens to be the case in Jeremiah 13. And it's so interesting because the people were in famine and it was so miserable. And these prophets kept rising and saying, you're not going to die of starvation and you're not going to die by the sword. And I am sure that was very encouraging. Now, in 1 Corinthians 14, Paul says the goal of prophecy is to build each other up and encourage them, right? But that's only good if it's true, you know? And it could be very tempting to want to hear what you want to hear. And you always think that when you read passages where it says they'll want to have their ears pricked. I think it says that they'll want to fashion prophets for themselves, you know, to hear what they want. And you go, man, those people are fools. But in truth, we're all susceptible to that. There's a movie called Ike. Probably it was about, it's going to sound boring, but it was about the logistics of D-Day. But it was actually quite interesting. And it was about Eisenhower, what made Eisenhower Eisenhower. Now, I don't know if this was true. It might have been done just for dramatic effect, or it might have been real. But he was very stressed out of the weather. And the weatherman told him, you know, the landing on this particular date isn't going to work because it's just looking bad weather-wise. And Eisenhower got all over him. And he walked off, and Bradley came up. And he said, you know, Ike, he only reports the weather. He doesn't actually make the weather. And he lit a cigarette, and he said, well, make him report nicer things. And he was just, they were showing how stressed out Eisenhower was at this time. And yeah, when things get tough, you want to be encouraged. You don't want to hear more bad news. You want to hear good news. But the truth matters in these situations. You want good news that is true, not good news that is false. And so that's why the scriptures tell you to test the spirits. So there are two more church leaders I'll discuss later, and many more Bible passages that I'll go through over time. And I'm still looking and searching. And I thought, well, why wait till I come to conclusions? If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I'll correct myself. There's no reason to get on here and pretend like I'm right all the time, because I'm not. And I'll just correct it once I discover that I'm wrong, or maybe God will encourage that what I'm saying is right. But I'll give you the ending, my conclusions for now. I do think prophecy is for today, and I'm not just, and I'm getting this out of the Bible. I do think it's for today. And the question then becomes, to what degree? And we'll talk about that next time.